How about that? It worked. It worked. But wait, you say, where's your blue shirt? Where is my blue shirt is in the wash. But I thought I would just wear a green shirt. Yeah, this is, I guess, yeah, it's got some green. It's green stripes. I'm not sure. vMix is just amazing. I mean, it can color key, it can tell the difference between the green screen behind me and the green in my shirt. I'm an idiot for wearing a green shirt. Anyway, welcome. Glad you're here. So glad you're here because I'm not here. This is not me. Well, it is me, but it's me like yesterday, which for me in reality is today because I did this on Tuesday. But for you, assuming you're in the States or Europe, it's it's Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening. And I'm coming to you not live because I'm on the road somewhere going on a trip. But I thought, well, what better chance to number one, experiment with the wrong shirt. Number two, catch you up on what we did last week, which was the continuation of we were building the two PCs for two different churches, and I recorded that last week. It was live for me last week, but it's going to be recorded and played for you this week. And then thirdly, I'm using Eric Pratt's HTTP Matrix 2.0 to automate this whole show. So I thought that would be kind of fun to play with too. So I've written out you know, not a not a script, but I've written out basically the various steps that I want to go through to make sure I get all the different piece parts to this broadcast in the right format and playing at the right time. So, excuse me, goodness, got excited there. So hopefully it's going to work. And if it does, number one, you'll get to see what vMix does with a green shirt. Excuse me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. Number two, we'll get to watch the continuation of last week's show where we finish off those two PCs we were building for the two churches. Bad time to get the hiccups. And number three, see how we can automate something. I'm going to be watching, well, probably listening. Sandy will be watching. So please comment because Sandy will be there to reply to the comments and to read me the comments. Said that Jan says this, or Marie says this, or Tommy says that. So anyway, so I hope you'll comment. And of course, hope you like the video. So let's, without any further ado, let's roll into the continuation of last week's video. Here it comes. All right, well, let's pick up where we left off. So as you might remember, our hero was perched on an edge of a cliff with just his fingertips holding on to the edge of the, no, just teasing. So we've got two PCs that we're working on simultaneously. We're installing one of them, which is already ready to go, except we're putting it in the case with the power supply and all the other goodies. And then the other PC, we just finished installing Windows on, and now we're going through all the updates that we need to get all the software ready to go on that PC. So let's go back to that one for a second, and we'll continue the process until we get to a good stopping point, and then we'll go back and take a look at the PC in the case. So let's switch over to that shot back in the workshop. And I'm going to switch you over to my cell phone audio, which is a vMix call going into the system. So it has now allowed us to connect to the internet. And it says, do you want to allow your PC to be discoverable up by other PCs? We say yes. We're connected to the internet. We can sync now on our time. And it goes from doing 6:32 a.m. to 4:02 p.m. So that was a good deal. All right, the installation is complete. Please restart your computer. We will do that. And we'll take out our CD right here so that Windows doesn't try to boot off of that. And we'll put that aside for the next use of it. We'll go up here with all the others, and the system is going to boot itself back up. And now that we've got access to the internet, we can do lots of different things. We can go out and begin to update Windows. In fact, that's the first thing we'll start doing right here. We go to Start, and go to Settings, and go to Update and Security, and some more space here. It says view optional updates. So let's go ahead and see what it wants to update. It wants to update something for this monitor and then video. We'll go ahead and let it do it. If it doesn't, it'll come back and want to do it again later. So now we've got that, and it says get ready for Windows 11. Well, I don't like Windows 11. I don't think vMix really likes Windows 11, even though they've approved it for use. I think they did it just because they felt like they had to. So we're not going to do anything to do with Windows 11. In fact, we're going to put a warning on the screen not to update to Windows 11. While this is working, we're going to take Google Chrome. We'll put it back in the recycle bin, but we've got it down here on the taskbar. So let's bring it up, and we're going to accept the terms, and we're going to go to the settings in Chrome right here. We'll go down to Help, and we'll go over to About Chrome, and this is where we can update it, and it says that it's up to date. Okay, that's good. That was the first thing I wanted to know. Is it up to date? So that's great. The second thing I want to do is I want to begin to come down and install some of the drivers. Now, Windows Update is trying to do an update for the NVIDIA card, so we're not going to do that right. But we can do an update for, we can install the driver for this 4-port generic SDI card. And so I'm going to go to the little folder down here in the bottom. I've got all sorts of drivers right here, including the driver for this guy. So let's go ahead and install it. And it's done. So we're done with that one. And let's see. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and put our sticky note out there. So we'll do sticky notes. And our sticky note is basically all the notes of items we want the new owner to know about. So we've got a sticky note here. We're just going to copy it, and paste it here, hold everything so it's easier to read, underline. Do not recommend upgrading to Windows 11 at this time. Really, I think ever, but yeah. All right. And it says Windows updates have been paused until September 1st. Well, that's not true, but I'm going to edit that in just a minute. You can unpause them anytime. Microsoft typically bundles most Windows updates and makes them available on the second Tuesday of the month. Occasionally, Microsoft has a bad update that actually breaks something in Windows, and they'll generally find it, fix it in a few days. So you may want to wait until the third or fourth week of each month to do your Windows updates, then pause them again for another month. This PC and vMix comes with 3 hours of installation assistance. We've talked about that. Now, vMix is up to date as of today. You have free updates of vMix for 12 months. The Chrome browser is preloaded with different web pages, including the vMix tutorial series on YouTube. These are great resources. And I've installed TeamViewer on this PC. Let us know if you have. Let's go ahead and do the, let's go ahead and get this set up. So we're going to go to vmix.com, and let's just maximize for a second. We'll go to the support page, and we want to add the documentation as a tab. We want to add the knowledge base as a tab. We want training videos as a tab. And we're going to go to the partner section, the reseller section. We're going to say we want us to be a tab. Let's reorder the tabs slightly. So we've got 4 tabs here. We've got the vMix user guide, training videos, knowledge base, and then our web page, settings. Go to settings, startup, use current pages, and we're set on that. So whenever we bring up Google Chrome, it'll bring up everything. So we can set it as a default, which if you saw the first one, Chrome says it wants to be the default, but apparently Microsoft prevented it from becoming the default. But now it is the default. Let's see, what else can we do? We're still doing Windows updates. Yes, we are. Okay, while we're doing Windows updates, let's do a few other things to our PC. So let's go back to settings. We're going to go to System, and then down here to Power and Sleep. We're going to change the sleep to never, and the screen sleep to never. And we'll go to Additional Power Settings, Additional Power Plans, and do High Performance. That's a key right there. We want to engage the turbocharger. The other thing we want to do, in this case, we're going to rename this PC with the serial number of the PC, so that if we have to remote into it, we know which one it is. It'll ask us to restart, but we'll do that later. So we've got that done. That's good. We've got the driver for the SDI card. And let's let Windows do its thing here. And let's go back and take a look at our other PC for a little bit. So we're going to go back and switch over, because we're going to go back over to the work table. That was the workshop. We're going to go to the work table now. And we've got a PC over there that we have just put the power supply in and just put the motherboard in. And we need to, oh, I know what we need to do. Bear with me just a second. I'm going to get the hot glue gun, and we are going to get these connectors hot glued in here. And I like this little gun because I can turn it on, and within just a couple of seconds, it's making glue. So we're just going to go in here and glue that guy in. This is the on-off switch where it connects to the motherboard. Yep. And that's all we needed. So we'll turn him off, set him aside to cool down. It's got little strings that come off with it. That's the joy of a hot glue gun. It makes all these little spider webs. Once they dry, and they dry pretty quickly, to get him off. One of the other things I like to do, hold on a second, is to take these little guys, and I use these little guys to make cable tie points. So we'll take the sticky back off. We're going to put one right here so that we can take this audio cable and our start reset cables and kind of get them out of the way. Kind of gets them out of the airflow, and it also kind of gets them out of harm's way in case somebody ends up inside this case for some reason. So we're just going to gently pull that to the other side. Gently pull that to the other side. Go ahead and cinch that down. There we go. And we'll clip it before we forget about it. There we go. So that's cinched down. That's secure, that's secure, that's secure. Let's go ahead and put some power cables in. So Corsair gave us a bunch of power cables. We'll need all of them. I'll open them up over the PC that we're working on. So let's just drop them out. We know there's certain ones we need, certain ones we don't need. This big one right here, yes, we need that. That's going to be the power for the motherboard. We'll set it aside. This one right here, that's for SATA drives. We don't need that. That is the Molec connector. We don't need that one. That's kind of legacy stuff. This one is that's for the CPU. remove that one. So you'll see that is a spare CPU. We don't need that one. Toss that. This is the graphics card. We'll need that one. This is another SATA connector. That's another graphics card. So we're not doing a big graphics machine, so we don't need that. So let's go ahead and put these guys in. Go ahead and stretch this guy out. What I want to do is go ahead and tuck him in back here to one of the ports. Then we'll go ahead and plug him in. Let's tuck him in right here. Set him up for that. So we're going to set that in back there and pull it out the back. And take everything we need, nothing we don't. Just going to fold him over, kind of pre-fold it, and then just plug him in until he clicks. There we go. So we got that done. And let's do the same thing for the CPU cable. So let's get that opened up, straightened up. And one end is going to plug into the motherboard, and one end is plugged into the power supply. And you can sort of tell, because the one that goes into the power supply has a single clip. The one in the motherboard has a double clip, meaning that you can split these if you need to. In our case, we don't need to. And we have the connectors right up there. We have an exit port right there for the cable. So we're just going to bend that over and plug her in. So that becomes kind of super simple. Click. So we end up so far with two cables coming out of the back, CPU cable and the motherboard power cable. And then our third cable here is our PCIe connector for the graphics card. We can sort of generally place that. Well, I guess we can go ahead and put the graphics card in right now. Do we do anything else before we do that? No, let's go ahead and put that card in. Put the power up. The graphics card comes in from off camera. And we've already opened up the slots in the back of the case for it, and it fits into its little home right there. And then we'll get our handy dandy power screwdriver, and we've got screws that we took out when we covered those holes. Let's put those screws back in. And that way our motherboard is secured. We're going to be turning this case on its side. There we go. And this is our cable. We're not going to use both of these. So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie this one so it's out of the way. I've seen people cut these, but I'm not thrilled about the fact that it leaves exposed connectors. And I've seen people use kind of liquid rubber and some other kinds of liquid, what is it called? Liquid electrical tape. I've seen them use that, but I'm not convinced that's long term, that's the best solution. So let's just leave this guy in place. And if we end up upgrading our video card for some reason, we've got that other power supply. So let's go ahead and plug them in here and click. And then we can route that through the back. And we'll go ahead and secure it if we need to later on. Now we've got three cables coming out the back. And let's get our clippers out of the way here. And these are going to go down to the power supply, which is down here at the bottom. And there's some, kind of some raceways here where they've got some cable tie mounting locations. So we'll go ahead and take advantage of those as much as we can. So far as the power supply is concerned, deep down in that hole, the one furthest in the back is the motherboard. So let's go ahead and do that one first. getting that one out of the way. And the cable is split. So we'll take the small one first and the big one second. And the orientation is with the clips are up. So let's see if we can get that down in there. No, we don't really have another way to grab it. We're just going to have to finagle it. Get that down in there. Yeah, there we go. We might need a flashlight to be able to see that we've got it in the right position. Sometimes this stuff is easier said than done. But sometimes I think it would be nice to have smaller hands. Yeah, let's see. I think just for now, we'll make this easy and take this little cage out. If we can do that. That'll give us a little bit more hand room. This is a cage for hard drives, traditional hard drives. And I guess you could use them for the big 3.5-inch solid state drives too. This will just allow a little extra hand room. It's just 5 screws and out comes this little hard drive cage. It'll hold a couple of hard drives. And now we've got Boku space to get hands in. So in goes one. Yep. Come on. There it is. Till it clicks. Click. And the second part. Until it clicks. No, that wasn't a click. That's a click. And then while we're here, let's do the PCIe. Let that one click. And then the CPU. Make that one click. Come on, baby. Right in the hole. You can do it. There we go. And click. All right. And then we can bend our cables gently back into position so that we can put our page back in. Since we don't know what our client is going to want to use, they may want to put in some extra drives at some point. We gave them that option, but we didn't really give it to them that strongly because nobody wants to use hard drives if they don't have to. All right, so let's see if we can get this guy settled into this location here. Can we do that? Yeah, there we go. All right. Then we've got 4 more to place in here. Nope, not there. How about there? There we go. And sometimes it's just that slow, tedious process of taking things apart so that you can put them back together. And in this case, we lose a screw. Yep, there it is. We'll get our last one in. And then I think we'll go over and take a look at that other PC and see how that Windows update, how the Windows update's coming. Okay, so we'll come back to this one. All right, let's see where we are here. All right, pending restart. Let's go ahead and restart. Get a little restart action going here. Just getting Windows ready. Don't turn off your computer. Well, this may take a minute. So let's let it do its thing. While it does, we'll go ahead and unplug the thumb drive here and set it aside. Remember, we've got other thumb drives attached to the this little passive hub, and we use those to store our drivers and things like TeamViewer and vMix and things like that on there. So we'll get to work installing those. We've got a black screen now, which tells us that we're booting back to BIOS and now back to Windows. And there'll probably be an installation process right about now. Yeah, working on updates. 51% complete, 81% complete, 91% complete, 98% complete. Don't turn off your computer. Now it's cleaning up. 0%, 62%, 100%. And now we've booted back to the Windows 10 desktop. There is our note to our client. So let's go back and check Windows updates one more time. Check for updates. I was working with a client one time and we had to go back and check for updates. What was it? 21 times, because his PC was so far out of date that every time it did an update, there was another update waiting behind it. So we've got a Windows, get rid of that little guy there, Windows Net Framework update, Windows Defender antivirus update. That is your built-in antivirus. And then something else that already installed itself. And these are pending an install. And it's always good if you do an update. It's always good to go ahead and reboot your PC and then try the updates again, because sometimes they're sitting out there waiting for you to try again. They're just lonely. They're just waiting. They're just waiting. Okay, let's check update again. I think we'll be okay. We'll reboot in just a minute and come back and double check this. But yeah, there's one more right there. Cumulative update for the .NET framework, 3.5, 4.8, 4.81 for Windows 10, version 22H2. So we're installing that update, and then we'll check this one more time. Here we go. Check for updates. And it will say, ding, 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 check for updates. Okay. So let's leave updates for a while. We're going to come down here to the file folder, and let's install vMix. So I've got the latest version of vMix downloaded right here, the install file, and I've double clicked it. And there might be the tendency to think, well, nothing's happening. Well, what's happening is Windows is checking out your PC right now. It's trying to make sure that there are no problems that it's going to encounter when it does the install. So here is the install permission, and we'll say yes. And then guess what? It'll check again. And it's making sure, does this PC have all the stuff it needs in it to at least run vMix minimally? And it'll bump it. We've got a vMix down here in the taskbar, but it says, hey, your .NET Framework 3.5 needs to be updated. So let's download and install this feature. We'll download the install. It also has a runtime error. It says, please install Net Framework 3.5 first and then run the vMix setup again. So we'll do that. And meanwhile, we'll let that finish. It's downloaded the required files. And we really don't want to install anything else or play around with anything else while we're installing vMix. I've tried that back in the bad old days, and occasionally would come up with a corrupt installation. So now we'll go back and try Windows 26 again. And so we'll just be patient on this part before we go in install anything else. We've got a driver we need to install on the NVIDIA card. We need to install the team viewer. And I'll probably do that off air because there are some, they're not secrets, but they're involve passwords. Okay, this will involve vMix. This will install vMix on your computer. It's recommended that you close all other applications before continuing, but we will leave this window open and we will leave this sticky note open. That hasn't been a problem. Accept the agreement, say yes to all the questions, and then let it do its thing. And while it does its thing, let's go ahead and go back to our other PC for a second. That's to secure some of our cables. So we're going to start with the CPU cable. And we kind of cheat with this one because it's, well, I guess this one is a longer cable. Yeah, it is. We'll go ahead and send it over there with all the others. So let's go ahead and give it something to hold in onto right here. Just do that kind of loosely for the moment so we get everything where we want it. And then let's get some of these smaller guys right here. Get those all together. Treat those as a group. That will take up some of the slack. Snug. And then let's go ahead and take the CPU wire and the motherboard connector. Get those secured together. And we've got all three of them here. We'll get installed there. Not a lot of airflow needed on this side of the case, so we're not as concerned with getting these guys out of the way too much. More, it's just a matter of getting them secured tightly so that they don't get in the way of something else. Okay, that's good. Let's trim those up carefully so as not to cut any of these cables. I did that once several years ago, and it really slowed things up for a while. All right, so let's get the back plate side panel up there. Go ahead and get that on so that we don't have to worry about it. And it just installs with a couple of thumb screws. I kind of like to add a little extra pressure to these thumb screws just because you never know who's going to be playing around with this, and somebody may want to take a look inside to see what they see, and if they can't get it open easily, they won't. But if somebody's going to make a repair to something, then yeah, we're okay. I'm taking a screwdriver. All right, so we've got a little bit of hot debris there. Come back and get it. And it looks like we're in pretty good shape here too. We've got the USB 3, we've got the other cables, we've got the graphics card, we've got the motherboard power, we've got the back case fan, we've got the CPU, and let's finish out this process of installing our CPU, our SDI card. And that's just going to pop into its slot. And we've got a screw here. If you do something like this, these little trays are really valuable because they've got a giant magnet on the bottom. They'll keep everything together in one place. You don't have to worry about where do my screws go? Where did I set that screw? It has its home and it should be in its home. And even if you knock it to the ground, it won't knock those out. All right. So that's good. That's good. We're looking good there. And that means now on the business side of the PC, we've got our backplate for our motherboard, got our graphics card, got our SDI card. So we're in pretty good shape here. We'll come back and do some labeling on these, but I think we can go back and check our other PC and see where it is now, because that guy's almost finished up. All over but the shouting. All right, let's see where we are back here. So it looks like vMix has finished its install. We need to install the Magic YUV lossless codec. So let's go ahead and do that. It's the same kind of installation process as the other, except it's really, really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's done. We're not going to do the reading the text. All right, so vMix is done. I'm going to go ahead and drop these guys down into the taskbar. And then we'll get them out of the way. We've got TeamViewer to do. And oh, I know, let's go ahead and do a reboot so we can check our Windows updates and see if we're at least updated for today. And we can go ahead and update our sticky note. Did we just turn that off? If we did, turn it back. I'm just jumping 2 pins. In fact, those are the 2 pins that we installed the start button connector on in the other PC just a few minutes. All right, so we booted back up again. Pull that pretty quickly. Let's go back to settings. Windows update. Let's check for an update since we did just reboot. And now we're going to pause updates. 7 more days, 7 more days, 7 more days, 7 more days. That's all we can do till September 13th. So let's update our little note right here. September 13th. Good there. Let's do our NVIDIA drive. This is a 1660 Super. We've got a driver there. Installed. Let's see what the date is. It says today's date, but I don't believe that's true. All right, so NVIDIA is getting ready to install its driver. And there are lots of different options on the driver. The option that we want to have, here's our packet launcher. And we're going to extract the file. The option that we want is the graphics driver. We don't want NVIDIA Experience. NVIDIA Experience is sort of a quote-unquote helper program to help you keep your PC up to date with NVIDIA graphics drivers and probably a bunch of other things, but we're not really interested in those because they interfere with vMix. So we're going to choose NVIDIA graphics driver from this menu, and we'll agree and continue. And then we want to do a custom install because we don't want to take the USB-C driver or the PhysX system software. We're okay with the HD audio driver in case we need that. And we want a clean installation. That's the key. And so this is going to do its thing. It's going to take 5 minutes plus or minus, and it's going to refresh the screen a couple of times, and it's going to do its thing. And the only other thing to do at this point is to install a license key in vMix and to update TeamViewer, both of which I want to do off air because they do involve passwords. So we're going to say that here at this workstation, we are done. Other than those things that I'm not sure. And that machine is ready to come back over to this table to be installed in a case just like this one. So it looks like we're ready to go here. Let's go ahead and get the side panel. side. And this is kind of a cool side panel. It's tempered glass. And so it allows you to have a look inside, make sure the fans are still running, that kind of thing, as well as little thumb screws that come in and come off pretty easily. There are little rubber grommets around them to keep this from actually being attached metal on metal. These guys have a little rubber washer on them. There's a rubber washer right here. So we don't have a problem with the braking. Get those on good and hand tight. And line up the holes. That. So that everything looks like it's neatly put together. And we're done. We're done. We've got some labeling to do across the back, and then we want to take this guy back over to the other station and go ahead and fire him up, make sure that everything works correctly, that the start button works correctly. The start button top, we've got start, and 2 USB 3s, a mic headset port, and then a reset port, and then a nice little screen cover to cover this top one. Not that you want to put any your chips or anything like that on there, but it's to prevent, if somebody did, prevent them falling through. So this guy is ready to go, and it'll be boxed up in the box that the case came with, which includes plastic sheeting and then foam on both sides. That goes in a box, and then that goes in another box with foam peanuts, so that we make sure that it arrives at its destination without a problem. We've been real successful in that. I think there's just been one over the years that has not made it the way it should. So that closes out this section of section 2, part 2 of building church PCs. One for the Baptists, one for the Seventh-day Adventists, but they're both going to enjoy them. Both of them are getting PTZ optics cameras, and we're delighted with that. And they'll get personal tech support from me, as well as a 3-year warranty, parts and labor on the PC. And I think the cameras actually have a 5-year warranty. So it's a lot of comfort in all of that. We'll be right back. Isn't that guy brilliant? He's just brilliant. You know, one of the things I realized, we're shooting in 4K today, and I forgot to shave because today is not Wednesday. My apologies. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can get something out of it. If you've got some questions about it, shoot me an email, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com. Or if you're interested in having us build one for you or for your church or for your podcast or for your school or whatever the case may be, just reach out to me and we can talk about it and figure out what's best for you, and try to work within your budget too, because we manage to do those kinds of things. Yeah. So remember, this was pre-recorded. Even the fact that it's coming to you live was pre-recorded. So it's all pre-recorded. We did all this today by HTTP Matrix 2.0. In fact, we probably ought to get Eric on here soon. And in fact, if you'll go to, what is the website, the channel? It is US Broadcast Distribution, where Eric has all of his videos, and he's done some really great ones lately using vMix and other gear. He's a distributor. He's one of the folks that we buy from in order to resell. So, but there's lots of great information there. He just did one on a wireless 8-channel tally light for ATM, for the ATEM and vMix, and has done some other really cool ones too. So you want to take a look for those. Anyway, I stumbled, bumbled all over that. So it's just like it's live, right? Okay. Well, we will see you next week. Thanks for watching.